negotiate. We will no longer tolerate it. We will no longer be afraid. It's your turn to be afraid.
Everyone, this week there really wasn't any major going on in the news again. It's literally pretty much the same old Mueller just came out and spoke recently and said that, you know, there was absolutely no crime committed by the president. And of course the Democrats are uproar over that. The abortion thing is still going on. Some women are being pretty retarded about it. I mean, it's just plain and simple to see that, you know, you either take protection, you know, contraceptives. There's many ways to prevent a pregnancy. If you're going to have sex. So it's their responsibility. It's not up to everyone else to pay for their abortion. And they need to stop using it as a means of birth control. Plain and simple. Plus, you know, once you have something that registers a heartbeat, that's literally, you know, that's life. So you're killing an innocent child. It should be a no-brainer. You should see that regardless. I've heard him claim that it's a parasite growing in him. No, because if you look up the definition of parasite, you know, a parasite is a different species than its host. Duh. It's just really ridiculous that they would. How could they call a baby a parasite? That's just ridiculous. Anyways, so yeah, the whole abortion thing is still going on too. I did. You know, I like paranormal investigations. I've mentioned that before in previous videos. In the last video I was talking about, I was watching a show called Paranormal Lockdown. I went ahead and finished it up, and I also binge watched another show called, which I didn't know it was out, it's called Kindred Spirits. Paranormal Lockdown. It's a good show for the most part. You know, they do investigation, but they're going to places that are really well known to be haunted locations, and they're just there to get evidence. They're not there to help the people really try to do anything with the spirits that are there. Like I said, they're just there to document whatever evidence they collect that something's there. As before, I said the main guy named Nick. The first season I watched it, he was very over dramatic. You know, like he knows he's playing for the camera. You know, he likes to be on camera, and he shows that pretty much through the whole series. But he's real bad about it on the very first season. The other 3 seasons he kind of calms down a little bit. his partner Katrina, or Kat, whatever you want to call her, uh, and she does it just as bad as Nick does. It's they do something that really irritates me about every paranormal investigation show. When they go in there and they're like, "Ooh, this room is heavy," or "This place feels different," or "Oh, this place is making me sick," or "Oh my gosh, it's just something's on my chest," or you know what I'm saying? You get the gist. I really hate when they do a show and the investigator does that almost every single episode. I could see that once in a while, but it's every episode with Paranormal Lockdown. They both do that constantly. Every episode, something's different in this place. Oh my gosh, yeah, this place must be haunted because I totally feel the spirits in here and blah, 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 Give me a break. That really irritates me and pisses me off. But the real bad about that show on there, but I continue to watch it. I continue to watch it because I like paranormal investigations, and they do paranormal investigation, and they collect evidence. So yeah, I watched it for that reason alone. Really, that's it. I tried to watch a show called Ghost Asylum. I know it's no longer running. I went and tried to watch it. I couldn't get past the first. I watched the first episode. That was it. I was done. That show reminded me too much of like a hillbilly ghost investigation team, and it was almost a ripoff of TAPS or Ghost Hunters. They called themselves the Tennessee Wraith Chasers, and they had the logo and everything, just like TAPS. And I was just like, what? This is so generic. And then they're like, really, they're jury rigging, supposedly like a Ghostbuster trap. Like they're going to catch a ghost inside of this freaking amplifier with this electric fence and solar panel crap. And I'm like, what the hell is this crap? Let's take barbed wire and make a fence out of it with solar panels on it. We're gonna catch a ghost, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? It's so fucking retarded. But yeah, it was so bad. I couldn't watch it. It was terrible. It was really cliche. Oh, anyways, I did binge watch 3 seasons of Kindred Spirits this week, though. I like the fact that it had Amy Bruni and Adam Berry on there from Ghost Hunters, because Ghost Hunters was literally the best paranormal TV reality show on TV. They disproved a lot of crap that was going on with Ghost Adventures and proved that they pre-plan all their stuff. It literally showed them to be fake, and that's where a lot of controversy came in, where people started getting on Ghost Hunters, even though they were there long before Ghost Adventures. But because they disproved something that was going on in Ghost Adventures, they got a lot of crap from some of the fans of Ghost Adventures, which I don't understand how they got fans anyway, because literally all it is a bunch of college guys going in there and then screaming and yelling whenever there's a noise or something. They're running away, it's really, teeny bopper crap, and it's retarded. It's not real paranormal investigating. But anyways, Amy Bruni and Adam Berry are from Ghost Hunters, and I like them. Do they do the whole, I feel, this room's blah blah blah, and it's heavy and thick, or I feel something here or whatever? Yeah, they do that. But they don't do it constantly. They don't do it every single episode of the show. It's just once in a while. The only thing I have against Kindred Spirits is Amy and Adam. They don't use the spirit box very often. They do on several episodes, but not all the time. But my one complaint, major complaint, is bringing in a psychic, supposed psychic. I don't believe in psychics, period. They've been disproved 100 times. There was the deal where that one guy, that millionaire, said, "Hey, come prove that you're psychic. If you're psychic, we'll give you $1 million. If you could undoubtedly 100% prove that you're psychic." And not one person has ever been able to do it. It's still going on. No one has ever been able to prove themselves as a real psychic. And that's the one thing I do not like about the show. I like the Chip guy. The Stephanie girl, she's okay. The Chip guy, he's kind of funny. But the thing is I don't believe in psychics. I'm sorry. It's just been disproven too many times. It's fake. There's no such thing as psychics. So that's the only complaint I have about the show. Otherwise, it's a really good show. They don't go to like famous haunted locations. They go to people's homes who need help with whatever spirits are there. And they usually go in there to where they tell them you need to treat them like people. If they want to be there, blah blah blah, you can learn to live with them. You just need to explain to them what's going on. They're not really, per se evil. They're just, upset because maybe you're doing renovations and you're changing a bunch of stuff. You need to let them know what's going on, that kind of thing. And it usually works. So I like the show Kindred Spirits. You should definitely check it out if you like paranormal investigations. All right, let's move on to your B-rated movies or classic movies, cult classics, for all you movie-holics like me. So, first one we're going to talk about is called Wheels on Meals. Now, in the previous episode or video I did, I did a couple of kung fu flicks, but they had some sci-fi elements into it. I figured, well, why not do a kung fu movie thing? Do a few kung fu flicks, this round. So I went ahead and did 3 kung fu flicks. They're all Jackie Chan movies. I love Jackie Chan. He's great. He's awesome. He's funny. He's real. I even went in real life when they're doing interviews with him. He cracks me up. He's so funny. Most people, they do like Jackie Chan. He's awesome. Awesome actor. Great guy. Does his own stunts. He's been hurt doing them. He's just all around a great guy. But anyway, in 1984 is when Wheels on Meals came out. It was Jackie Chan. But the director was Sammo Hung, which he's done a lot of work with. He's really well known in Hong Kong, Sammo Hung. A great director, great writer. He's also he's like Jackie Chan. He's almost a legend over there. He's a good actor too. He did this with him with another guy called Yin Bio. I think that's Bayo or Bio, however you pronounce that. They're the 3 main heroes of the movie. I don't know a lot about Yun Bio, or Bayo or whatever. Apparently, he's fairly well known over there as an actor as well. The movie made about 23 million worldwide, so it didn't do like horrible. It did fairly decent for back then. Um, it also had a guy name in there. He's a bad guy. And Jackie Chan fights him. His name is Benny uh, Aquides. I think that's how you say Aquides. Um, Benny is a really well-known choreographer for films. He's one of the best. Um, he's a really great martial artist as well, kickboxer mainly. Um, he plays the bad guy in this. He's the short, blonde-headed guy. Um, what I didn't know was that the movie inspired a video game. There was a video game made after the movie that the movie inspired, which was called Kung Fu Master. I don't know if any of you remember that from the 1980s. I was looking at it, I was like, really? I did not know that. So that was kind of surprising to me. You know, I knew about the movie. I just didn't know about the link to the video game. And I played Kung Fu Master in the arcade when I was younger. You know, it was a pretty cool game. I just didn't know it was connected to this movie, but it is. Now I think they actually, okay, because it's in Chinese, I think they actually meant to say Meals on Wheels, but the pronunciation when it comes in English is Wheels on Meals. So it kind of confused me at first when I was trying to look it up to watch it here recently. I was like, okay, it must be because of the way it's interpreted in English that it's like that. So it's kind of funny, but I understand that it's kind of backwards. But anyways, basically the movie is about Yun and Jackie, and they're like brothers or cousins or something like that. They own I guess everyone that's seen them now, everybody knows about them. It's like a truck restaurant, you know, the truck or van parks, you know, and then they serve out of the truck or the truck or van or whatever. But basically, they run this little business, restaurant business out of their truck. Right off the bat, at the very beginning of the movie, they show that they can fight by fighting off this motorcycle gang that comes into their little square where several other vendors are at, and they try to cause trouble, so they end up fighting them off. Later on, they go to this mental hospital where Yun's father is at, and they go there to speak to him, and Yun's father's kind of basically like falls in love with this other woman whose daughter happens to be there, and they think she's really beautiful, and Yun and Jackie want to check, you know, hang or meet her, blah blah whatever. You know, they want to hit on her or whatever because she's really beautiful. She basically in the movie takes them for a ride. You know, she steals from them and blah blah blah, steals some money from them. So they eventually find out she's in trouble with some type of rich Spanish guy who kind of has like some thugs that are constantly trying to chase her down. They end up talking to this English dude who tells them that you know, he's wondering if they could find her and help get him to meet her, um, which was kind of strange. They're in Spain, by the way. It's all done in Spain. Anyway, they eventually get her to meet him, and he tells her, she's like a countess or something. She's heir to this, to vast wealth. Millions of dollars. Um, they eventually get over the fact she tries to steal from him. She tries to make them understand that, she's on her own. She had no other way of living or whatever. She didn't know she was a countess. But she eventually, like I said, they eventually get her to meet him. They find out what's going on is that her father had like a brother, and he's trying to steal the fortune. As long as she doesn't come to claim it within so many days, he gets the entire fortune, and he's trying to prevent her from doing that. And Sammo Hung is kind of like this. He's really cheesy looking the way he looks, like 70s retro style kind of crap. But anyway, he's kind of took over this private investigation agency in a weird way. And he's trying to help out as well. Because this client wants him to find her. Eventually, his client is the old English guy who's looking for her. They get Jackie and Yun isn't really all great friends with Sammo, but they are friends in a weird way. And then they eventually end up having to fight the bad guys, and they get them to stop, and they get the girl. They give the girl the help that she needs to become the countess, and everything ends up hunky-dory, and everything's good and fine. That's pretty much the end of the movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's a lot of action. If you like Kung Fu flicks, this is definitely one to check out. They really go at it when they go into they towards the end of the movie. They go into the Spanish guy's castle or whatever, and they all three end up in some major fights and towards the end. So it's a really good action flick. But of course it's Jackie Chan, naturally. So definitely check it out. I definitely give this one 2 thumbs up. The only problem you might have with it, I'm going to mention this because the only problem you might have is trying to find an English version of this movie. I did find an English version, but of course, it doesn't sound anything like the actors who are really speaking. I just can't watch subtitles. I hate watching subtitles because I'm too busy looking at the bottom of the screen and reading what they're saying and actually watching the movie and seeing what's going on. So that's why I don't like subtitles. So you may have a hard time finding an English version, just letting you know. The next one I'm going to talk about is actually something that Jackie Chan, he's known for writing and directing several movies of his own movies. And he stars in these as well, naturally. The first one is Police Story. I've heard of this movie 100 times, but I've never watched it. I did watch First Strike, but I didn't know First Strike was part of the Police Story series. I had no clue. But it was been years since I seen that. It's actually Police Story 4. But I always knew it as First Strike. I didn't know it as Police Story 4 or whatever. But anyways, back to Police Story. So I finally got sat down and said, fuck it, you know. I'm going to watch these. You know, I'm a big Jackie Chan fan. Why not? You know, I've never actually watched him. Again, it took a while to find an English version where they talk English, which is really weird because when you're watching the movie, every now and then he says thank you or whatever in English. You know, if you're watching that, you know, the subtitle version, he'll say thank you or some shit like that in English. Or welcome or something like that. Every now and then you hear English. And I'm like, what the hell? It's supposed to be subtitled because it's not, you know, he's not speaking, he's speaking Cantonese. Why is it sometimes in English? So that's kind of strange. But anyways, it took a while to find an English, a whole English version. Again, this movie was done in 1985. You know, right after Wheels on Meals. It grossed about 22 million worldwide. So it didn't do, again, it didn't do too bad. This stars, of course, Jackie Chan, Bridget Lin, which is a Taiwanese actress. She's the bad guy's girlfriend, sort of, which Jackie Chan has got to protect. And then there's Maggie Chung. I think that's how you pronounce it, Chung. Maggie Chung plays Jackie's girlfriend in the movie. She's fairly well-known Hong Kong actress. But anyway, the story is pretty basic and simple. It's about there's this. It's almost like a Chinese triad gangster mob boss or whatever. That the police department, they've been trying to nail this guy for years and they've never been able to do it. And then basically Jackie Chan goes in there and he ends up finally doing it by the time the movie's over with. There's a couple of scenes you know, where at first there's one scene that's really crazy. His partner, I guess, or whatever, his buddy on the police force, you know, he comes into the apartment. They're trying to get Bridget Lin, the woman he's protecting, the girlfriend of the mob boss. She's kind of a witness, so he's ends up having to protect her. So he's watching her. Well, his buddy comes in with a face mask and a knife in one scene, and it's pretty corny and goofy, but it's trying to attack and pretend he's attacking the woman so they can convince her that the mob boss now has no longer use for her. He wants to kill her off from talking. So his buddy comes into the apartment with a face mask and a knife, and he pretends he's trying to attack him. That, you know, he's beating the crap out of Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan's trying to protect her and get in front of him, and blah. Well, he knocks him. I mean, literally knocks himself in the head once or twice. And Jackie Chan's literally having to move his whole body around like he's actually attacking him, and he's not. You know, but he can't wake him up, so he has to puppeteer him. It's a pretty cool scene. But once he gets rid of him, the funny thing is that she tries to run out of the apartment and get in her car and take off, and Jackie goes to follow her, Well, then the real thugs show up. The guys at the mob house actually hired to kill her. There's like 4 or 5 of them. And he ends up actually getting in a real fight, trying to keep them from killing her. So she's definitely convinced by then. So that's a real funny scene. There's a couple scenes. There's one scene where his girlfriend shows up on like this moped or whatever, and tries to talk to her. She thinks he's like, she first walks in on the apartment. He's taking a shower, and the woman he's protecting is in his living room, and she thinks he's cheating on her. And the girlfriend, of course, convinces, the girlfriend of the mob boss convinces Jackie's girlfriend, that's not what's going on, I swear, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jackie's girlfriend goes and they're keeping their mouth shut, and the mob boss girlfriend's teasing Jackie, and Jackie's saying all this crap in the shower and shit. And his girlfriend's listening to every word, and she's all like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this shit." And it's nothing real bad, but he's like, "What's wrong with my girlfriend? She's blah blah blah." And it's a funny scene. It's pretty funny. And there's this, like I said, there's this one scene towards the end of that scene where she gets on her moped and she tries to take off. He grabs a hold of her and the moped just keeps going. And she's all like, "What the hell?" She's landing on her ass. It's pretty funny. It's really funny. And then there's the scene where, the whole police department thinks he's guilty of some type of crime or whatever. And he grabs the lieutenant, the main guy who runs the department, and he grabs him, and it's crazy. He's using him as a hostage to get out of the police department, and somehow it works. But that was hilarious. They had some real good stunts in the movie. It's really good. I think you should check it out. If you like Kung Fu and you like Jackie Chan, you'll like Police Story. It's pretty good. It has some funny moments in there too. There's a scene where he's using telephones and he's got all these. I don't understand why they did it. This kind of stupid. Instead of putting the phone down and grabbing another phone, he just takes the phone with him with the cord, and he just wraps them all around, and he's like doing 5 or 6 of them at a time, trying to talk to several people all at once, which is kind of dumb, but it's kind of funny too. But it's a good movie. You should check it out if you like Kung Fu flicks. The next one is Police Story 2. I watched it as well. Now, eventually I'll get around to watching all the Police Story and giving reviews on them, but I only did the first 2. It was done in 1988, and like its predecessor, it didn't do too bad. It made about $25 million worldwide, so again, it did a little bit better than the first one. And of course, Maggie Cheung is in this one again as his girlfriend. Jackie Chan, he directed this one as well, and starred in it. Basically, the bad guy he put in the first one basically gets out because he's about ready to die. He's got like 3 months to live or so. So he gets out again. He's letting him know he's coming for him, Jackie Chan's been busted to like traffic duty, like he's a street cop or whatever. And his girlfriend's trying to get him to stop being on the police force because she thinks it's too dangerous anyway. Well, she definitely thinks something's going on now because they come to visit her. Not only do they visit him, but the thugs come and visit her as well, and it really upsets her really bad. And Jackie Chan's all like, okay, I'm done. You know, I'll just retire. You know, blah blah blah. So he does this retire thing, and they're getting ready to go on this plane. And just before that, there's a scene where there's a bomb at a mall, and Jackie Chan, you know, takes intuition and he gets everyone out of the mall just in case it's a real bomb threat. And of course, it was. The whole mall explodes, but they got all the people out in time. But they find out that there's more bombs, and when Jackie Chan and his girlfriend are leaving, even though he's retired, they get ready to leave, and you know his bosses come up. Like I was saying, so his bosses come up and ask him to be the lead detective on the case. They're reinstating him, and you know, at first he doesn't want to do it. He's all like, yeah, I'm trying to retire. I told my girlfriend I wouldn't be doing it anymore, blah blah blah. And they tell him, don't worry, you know, she'll understand, and blah blah blah, and trying to convince him to take the case. And then they turn around and says, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe we'll just try to find somebody else. I mean, even though you're the best detective we got, we'll try somebody else. You know, and you know, this is what was going on. He's like, well, did you check this and did you check that? And, well, he's checking that and this. He said maybe we should run a this and that, and so he's kind of like, they're kind of like leading him to let him lead, you know, with his questions. So he eventually decides, okay, I'll do it, you know, blah, blah, blah. By this time, the plane is taking off. His girlfriend's still on the plane. He's like, oh my gosh, that's fucked up. You guys are definitely going to, you know, see to it that she gets back okay, and, you know, someone will be there for her and blah, blah, blah to bring her back. And they're all like, yeah, we'll take care of it, no problem. Well, they never do. They never take care of it. And man, she is pissed when she gets back. And it's just hilarious. They almost do the same routine they did in the first one. You know, not, you know, kind of like not meaning to, but, you know, it's almost the same routine, but they don't quite do it exactly the same. But yeah, she's pissed. And, you know, you can't blame her. It's not really his fault, but at the same time, you know, it kind of is. So he's got a lot of making up to do. But yeah, the different thing that's going on in this movie, though, it's not really about the mob boss. They kind of square things away about halfway through the movie, because he finds out it's not the mob boss who's planting all these bombs, and there's several bombs been going off, and they've been getting threats that there's going to be more if they don't, you know, pay a ransom, and the ransom keeps getting higher and higher. But eventually Jackie finds out that there's these 3 guys who are actually planting the bombs. And this seems... He gets in a fight with the first 2 a couple of times, and it's not so bad. But then he finds the location of the 3rd guy, which he's a deaf and dumb guy, you know. You know what I mean by that, he's deaf and, you know, he can't speak. he's this nerdy looking guy with glasses and wearing overalls, but he's literally beating the shit out of Jackie Chan. And Jackie's like, what the fuck? You know, anyway, he gets away. And he ends up finding all three of them at this, like, old abandoned warehouse after they kidnap his girlfriend. Now, remember, she's still pissed at him. But then all of a sudden, when they're trying to torture them and then try to get them to do what they want them to do, she's all in love with him again. But she wrote a letter saying that she's gonna break up and leave him. And he's like, what the fuck? And this kind of like changes everything. They try to strap him with a bomb and make him do stupid shit too with this bomb on him. He figures out how to get rid of the bomb without blowing himself up in some tunnel or whatever, like overpass or whatever, that kind of tunnel, highway tunnel or whatever. He figures out they can't use a radio signal to set off the bomb, so he gets it off there by doing some crisscrossing wire work with the car wire, and he gets the vest off. But the bomb squad still has to go in there and defuse the vest. Anyways, they kidnap it. Like I said, they kidnap his girl. So he figures out where they're at. They're at another like abandoned warehouse or whatever, and he gets there. And there's this big fight scene with all three of them, ganging up on Jackie Chan and his girlfriend. He gets his girlfriend out, and then he goes back in there and fights the three guys, and then he runs out, and the whole place blows up. And supposedly the three guys were in the place when it blew up, and that's pretty much the end of the story. Police Story 2 was a little bit different. It had a couple funny scenes in it, but it was more serious-like. It's a pretty good movie. The first one had this elaborate scene where he's running these cars down this hill and crashing them through buildings, and he even does this stunt scene where it's kind of like an Indiana Jones kind of crap, where he's doing this underneath the bus thing or whatever. He's all kinds of stunts on this double-decker bus. This one didn't have so much those kind of elaborate stunt scenes in them. Most of the fighting was done either at this old building where the deaf and dumb bomber guy, they had a fight with him in there, and then this warehouse. They had a big old fight at the warehouse at the end of the movie, but abandoned warehouse. But it didn't have as much action in it as the second one, or the first one did, but it was pretty good. It wasn't too bad for what it was. And of course, it's Jackie Chan. I always liked Jackie Chan. I'm kind of curious to see what the third one's going to be like, how different it's going to be, and I'll eventually get to it. But if you like kung fu flicks and you definitely like Jackie Chan, this is definitely another good one to watch. I give it 2 thumbs up. Check it out. I told you, like I said, the first one. The first one I considered the first one a lot better, but this one's not that bad either. If you have any suggestions of any kind of classic B-rated movies, or movies that no one else seems to know about or whatever, that should be a classic, you know, or whatever that no one's really heard of or whatever that was really excellent. Please, leave a suggestion down in the comment boxes below. I'd like to know what people think about, you know, the paranormal shows I was talking about, the Kindred Spirits and you know, the Ghost Hunters and Paranormal Lockdown, all them. You know, I'd like to hear people's comments about those. But yeah, if you have any suggestions on a type of movie you'd like me to check out and review, please leave a comment down below. I told you you'd be told the truth, and you've just been told.